What's up?
What's up? What's up?
What's up?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay,
So today,
everything.
today is three dots in our map, like Tokyo, Moscow, and LA, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's absolutely
The,
Okay.
crazy,
We're
crazy
trying to
game.
connect all these three dots and we're doing it
yeah,
well so far.
we're doing it well. Yes. All right. So, yeah, why don't you guys introduce yourself just for the podcast and for context?
Okay, Timur, you first.
Okay. I'm a car designer, known as Bird on Instagram. That's about it. we were in the
Wow.
same school with Kirill. This
Yeah.
thing I can mention,
All
and
right.
he's a good friend of mine, and now he's frozen. I'm an old man, 26 years old,
I
soon
hear it.
retirement. My car design career comes to the end, so that's it. Please, Kirill, introduce yourself.
I have no so funny introducing, but I'm another car designer from the Moscow. So now I'm so, but I think it's just a case like today. So what's interesting? I just do anything, I'm not just a car design, but I try to mix car design with anything, and I think Timur too. So we just have the same moments, and I think, and at the same time we have a lot of different, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that from your Instagram posts. I guess just to add a little bit of introduction for our guests, Timur and Kirill. From my side, I known you guys from Instagram, and it's exactly like you said, like showing different sides, but exploring on a similar concept or having a similar direction. It's like when I first started car design, I started follow you guys on Instagram, and I really learned so much from you guys. Like you don't know how much inspirations you've given me throughout since I started following. Um for you, Kiro, I remember like there's one story that you posted about your understanding about design. It was more like a creative vision. That was about like thinking outside of box and
it's a classic package, classic like a classic case for any artist. It's just go out of bounds, like do something different.
everybody
And
says that, but not that many
yeah,
people actually
yeah,
do it.
I think I
So
think I think the main the juicy point is how you do it. Like, not it doesn't matter what exactly, but how. So you can see the object on different angle. Like, you can imagine that that it can be not exist in reality, but you can just put something, moments, something emotion, like different emotions, on a real object from unreal worlds. Like, and it can be very surrealistic, and it can be something different. That's the one
yeah,
of the scenarios how to do something crazy. Just
yeah,
imagination. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and
Like
for you,
SpongeBob.
imagination.
And so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and for you, Timur, you know how much I've learned from you for our just from our collaboration. And honestly, I remember like there's one time I showed you one of my early car designs, and you gave me this critique that I don't know if you still remember, but it was like one more horizontal lines won't help. And honestly, that was like one of the best piece of critique I've ever gotten. And I've used that critique to this day. And so this is basically like for the introduction, this is how I kind of get to know you guys and know how much you like understand the subject and why I think it's so cool to invite you guys to this conversation.
It's a cool thing that
Right.
you introduced us from your side as well, like giving your perspective. How do you perceive us as creators? And it's just interesting to hear from third person perspective.
I don't know where to. I mean, we kind of started on a topic.
We were
Okay.
discussing creation, and Kirill was telling us about doesn't matter what you do; it's more of how you do it. I also can relate to that. You can, because for example, in school, you can see the difference between each student who they given the same task basically, but everyone's doing it, their own way, and then this their own way thingy is what um, makes the difference. But it's sometimes hard to tell what it is exactly that um, makes things that you create seem by other people fresh. Because I have a hard time saying that I'm creative. I feel like I'm not really. Like I'm looking at the other guys. All of them are creating super cool stuff, and it's just also just takes a lot of practice. It's always like that. If you want to create something different, you have to create a lot of things that's been done already, and maybe you have to be on like not creative for a long time to get a bit creative. That's my feeling.
That's kind of how I understand the concept of like creating outside a box. Because I've heard of a lot of people or projects that say they want to do something nobody has done before, nobody has seen before. But a lot of the times it's not that way. And I think when the focus is on you know, doing something new, then I think it's hard to create something that's actually creative because I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels more like the the goal is not to create something from what you want to express, but more like you want to compete with other creative people. And so a lot of the times I think building on top of what's already existed, but having a interesting core value is the actual thing that makes stuff stands out, and which is why I see so much live and soul in yeah, you guys' work because it's like I wouldn't say like they're commercially ready or like they're industrially make sense. It's a form of self-expression that really makes things unique.
Okay,
Yeah, I really like the point that you said that when people want to be creative and they look at the most creative people out there, they end up just trying to fit in this like market of creative people, which makes things maybe not. At this point, it's just like benchmarking others to create similar product, which is not.
Yeah.
Um, I guess it's not just comes from setting up the goal of creating something creative or something that didn't exist before. I guess it's just it more often happens when people have their own maybe idea or it's it comes not from, as you said, trying to be creative, just from uh, from expressing yourself, I guess. Shit, I feel like I'm spitting out like some, I don't know, things that doesn't really make any sense.
What do you think, Kirill?
I think like you can forget about anything, and if you wanna do something different, I think it doesn't start from to like a goal to create something different. It's a way without task. So you can go to the process without the final images, how the object should look like. And when you realize the demo render on your brain, like in your head, so it's the end, it's the depth of your project, because you should to go further with your ideas. Like maybe it can like the first idea can change to the something absolutely different. Maybe the conception can change, the style can change, the anything can change, and it's this is the evolution of your project. After these steps, you can get a revolution. The process is the important than the final result. You know, you
Oh
can
yeah,
just enjoy the process.
yeah, I fully agree with that. And
That's the, I think, the closest way to create something unusual, something different, something that you don't see in a real world. I think.
would you say like part of that is um like for example for your process, do you like sketch down something or have something in your head uh in terms of how you want this thing to end up, and then while you're putting it down on I don't know, 3D or sketch, it kind of evolves during that process?
So it doesn't matter how it starts. It doesn't matter how it ends. So you can just try first of all 3D. First of all, if you want just to do sketches, you can do nothing. First of all, it can be useful than a 3D in it's just, it depends on situation, you know, depends on your conception. So I just start with like uh, with two pictures or maybe two words, and I just um, create a world in my head. So the props in this world, like the um, like how what's the sky color should be, like what's the shape of the chairs, the tables, like cars, etc. What's the characters should be in this world. After this setup, I just think about what the car or maybe what I design should express um, like maybe the death, the destiny, the hope, like these eternal values, qualities, words, not something that we can touch, maybe we can just realize on our world. So it can be something endless and eternity. So
That is really interesting. I love world building as well. I imagine that's related to something you said before about creativity is something that you create this environment to kind of nurture a creativity or like a nurture a design, and it kind of grows out itself. Which is why I'm into world building so much. Is it although it takes so much time to like imagine like everything um, from that certain world, but it's like you create a basis for everything, and then you pick out something from that world, and that thing kind of explains. It explains this corner, but also it extends to the depth of this world that you've created through this design. So that is
Yeah,
really interesting.
it can be like
What
a
do you?
memories, like a highlights. It's can be not just a very detailized world. It can be just a shock, maybe just a lighting
Yeah,
on your head. It's just this situation or another situation. It's just maybe something confusing situation, maybe funny, and it can grow up from this. It depends on your chemical processes in your brain.
yes.
Yeah,
And that kind of reminds me of what you said before, Timur. Spontaneity on
yeah,
uh, on an idea. It's like you
Yeah,
having this like flash of an idea and just jot it down.
yeah. It's just like that, boom, and you have to grab it. You have to like catch it. And a lot of times, what I do, it's even like not in the process, but just walking down the street or like standing and waiting for a train. Sometimes I just like think of something and then, oh, that can be a cool idea for a sketch, or that can be a cool idea for a project. And sometimes I just write it down. It's not always end up making it to the at least to the sketch, but let's say a good chunk of the times I do. And yeah, it's just so random. And even in the process of sketching, it's like you're sketching something, and in the beginning, it's very boring. Like sometimes I just want to sketch, and in the beginning, you're just sketching something that you did before so many times, but in the process, you have to be not patient, but I don't know. Like if I want to describe kind of like a process in my brain, I want to say that I have a battle with myself, um, trying to not trying really, but um, you know, we're lazy creatures. We want to do something that we are most like familiar with, but we have to battle that like little evil in our head to create. We have to have like kind of like a courage to go. For example, where you usually see horizontal line, we have to go vertical or diagonal. It's like it's kind of battle to make something um, out of norm, but make it kind of work. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. For example, like imagine we're sketching right now, and I have an idea of having, um, you know, passengers like their cabin is below the vehicle, not on top of the vehicle, and how should I connect um, points like of a normal vehicle to make it look at least a certain degree believable, but still, um, you know, retain this abnormality of a, like upside down car. Let's say. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean I think that that's like every artist's struggle to want to create something and then want to fall back to that comfort. I totally understand what you're saying because that's how I am with 3D. You've never seen me post anything 3D before.
No, never saw. Wait, where is your
And
3D?
that is yeah, why do you think? um but yeah, like I totally agree with that, and it's I imagine part of the creativity also happens when you're trying out a new medium, or like you decide to take the courage and grab the chance and um, to go out of your comfort zone in terms of creating. And a lot of the times, like for me, that I think getting into car design is probably the the farthest I've extended for myself, and like for me, just to learn about this new thing, it is a like a creative uh, process for me. It feels like that, and also I love something about car design is that the functionality is always assumed, and because it's such a I would say such a narrow topic when you compare to entertainment design, because entertainment design you have like you gotta design guns today and you gotta design fashion tomorrow, and we do characters and we do props and we do vehicles, and none of those things, oh I shouldn't say that, but like a lot of the times many of those things don't work uh to get all together. And you've seen my old projects. I like as an entertainment designer, we just want to force something to work, but it doesn't. But I think when you're in this environment within card design, there's so much deeper that you can explore. And when when a functionality is assumed, you kind of have to really stick to the limits to kind of stick to the limit to push it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like nonsense, but at the same time, it makes so much sense. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes limiting factor can be the driver for creativity. I think I think.
very much.
Um, I don't know. It sounds like it's been said by someone else before, but
So whenever I see like a client that reaches out, or I think I feel this way the most in terms of, or the most practical when you're getting a job from somewhere, and it's a big red flag when they say just do whatever you want, and that a lot of the times means they don't know they don't know anything about what they want. And I think that applies to creating for ourselves too. It's like if you don't set any limit, if you don't set any boundaries to stick by or any rules, um, then it kind of there you lose the focus of the design, and it kind of goes everywhere. It's not like so. I think in like the process of creating, setting the rules, setting the boundaries, um, the more you the deeper you go with these rules, with these boundaries, the more comprehensive, or the more I guess structured your work would be. How no matter how weird it would look, like it could be an upside down card, but because you've set those boundaries, um, then it will make some sort of sense.
yeah. I mean, I again, I got your point. I think. You know, you said. So, just my interpretation. If you don't have any boundaries, there is no boundaries to break out of. You know, so you
Yeah,
have to have
exactly,
some boundaries.
exactly.
So it's just like very logical.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you have
So,
any thoughts?
any person who just can understand your ideas, your vision, like your crazy crazy, schizo, psycho style, and he can understand it and translate into people, like into viewers. I think it can. You're a very lucky man if this person is your boss. I think because
You're gonna be very lucky. You gotta like be the top of the luckiest person.
yeah, you just can't say just Kirill. You can go crazy, just go crazy presentations, go crazy stuff. I just can present it in a different language, in a language of generic people, not a generic people, like just usual people. So I think generic people's language is more understandable than the like underground artist languages. So okay, you just have a translator of your work. So this is important.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
art should consider their audience?
Maybe your producer will be Fadeev Maxim or maybe Pharrell Williams. I don't know.
Oh my
I think it's
god,
important.
that was so
I think it's
specific, man.
That's why I just say that I said about two persons, like Pharrell Williams or Fadeev Maxim is our Russian producer. It's just another leagues like of persons. So
Amazing. Okay, I wonder, do you think it's important for your viewers to understand what you're doing? For example, like if you do something and I guess the question comes to, do you pick your own expression or do you pick how the viewers sees it? Because when I see people doing art, like quote unquote art, um it seems like they don't really care what the audience think, and that's I see that mentality in many designers as well. And think back, if you're doing self-expression, I think there's nothing wrong with it. I wonder what you guys think, because I think you guys have like really unique work, and I just wonder if you care what people think.
Timur, your
Well, when I sketch, I care about certain things to be seen. Like, for example, if there is enough contrast to see this specific difference between this tone and this tone. Sometimes I'm looking at my sketch from I'm trying to at least to look at my sketch from the like a person who just saw it, just first time. I try to do this little exercise of like being a viewer, and can I see things that I wanted other people to be seen? Like, are they clear? And I can make it's really specific. It's just related to colors and tones, only these things. Yeah, I just that it's just something I can say that about only specific things like colors or shapes that should be like specific ones that are kind of like carry the idea that you try to communicate. It's something that can be recognized, but if it's not like you know refined enough, you can't really see the idea.
When you're trying to say something, you gotta be extremely specific about what you want to say, and it takes a lot of practice to be specific. I don't know too well in terms of car design because I'm not like trained in the system, but just from the point of concept design or entertainment, it's like, for example, you design a clothing or you design a character, then you have to go extremely specific about their personalities, what era they live in, what's the technology that they have. Uh, for example, like if you're only designing a jacket for this person, you gotta go, what are the level of technologies they have during that era of time, and therefore, does this person have a button or have a zipper? And I think this probably translates to car design and probably any other design that you're like looking is the level of specific. I say that word specific. Okay, anyway, specificity is not a word. Or like specificness has to be thought
This is,
of.
I think, this what you just had. That was process of creating something new.
Specificity.
Specific,
Specificity.
specificity. Two new words.
Can you tell me, for like, if you have an example in your work, how do you be specific?
So I totally agree with Timur, of course. So I don't care about the viewers, the people who can just watch my works. So it can be, it sounds very egoistic, but so I try to find the personal truth, like the truth on this moment. When you think about the global theme, like, for example, hope, right? You just can create a situations, then this hope can realize like a magnificent quality or magnificent energy, for example, in religion or maybe in life situations, maybe on literature and etc. So I don't spend time to show it for other guys. So I just create a mood, like a very foggy story. So what I want to say is, for example, in my work, just in my work process, like in my real work, not just on a car
Like,
design
yeah.
field, I just connect with the 3D modelers, like connect with uh, other people, and my boss said, Kirill, don't draw the cars. Kirill draw the mood, and that's my credo in my work, you know.
Hmm.
And so I try this work philosophy, my personal work philosophy, on my work. So I go to the freedom modeler and give him the absolutely raw sketch and say him, just try to model approximately like the feel the emotion, please, like this. And all of them are just understand me because they understand what type of person is Kirill. So this is my specific case, and they understand it, and they just try to. They don't ask anything about like why this line is too much, like too much crazy, or why this element is absolutely not from this style and etc. Right? Uh, no ask moments, no answers, and it's just a foggy creation process. And this is like a David Lynch films, like like a Mulholland Drive, like it speaks. So it's just something intuitive, like because I create a lot of stuff just in intuitive feeling. So
is you are a lucky man.
so
To have
it's just a syncope. I don't know, syncope, like when I think all depends on your human qualities. You know, what's the type of person you? Maybe you just aggressive, or maybe you can laugh in laugh, not laugh.
Laugh. Laugh.
You can laugh on like strange situations, maybe something sad situations. You can translate it into your artist way. So, and you can just explain these qualities to your bosses, to your colleagues, to your friends, to your people, and they can understand what you can create, because it depends on personality, depends on your emotions, your opinions on objects, like about what do you think about like weather, what do you think about the places, what do you think about the what do you like, just the wine or water, like, or vodka, you know, it depends on this. uh, and I think the chemistry between people is very important, because if you just find the crazy people who just maybe crazy on another field, but the method is you are two crazy people, two crazy persons. That's enough for create something different. It doesn't matter what exactly they do or you do. So I think you are very lucky human being when you have a cool team, and then you just translate, not design dictionary in your work. You can say the story, tell the story, and they understand it. They understand what they do design. So from the story, not from the like directly from task. It's not like a mathematic. It's not like a. It's just it's a poetry in my case.
it's a
So
vibe.
that's the I think one
Yeah,
of the.
definitely. Like I totally get what you're saying, and it's such a, but in my opinion, it's such a rare uh occasion that you will run into a group of people that can understand your vibe. Um,
Yeah.
what I see the most intriguing duel, I would say, is Miyazaki's team. What his I would call them collaborations with Joe Hisashi, because it's like both of them are artists and they speak completely different language, I would say, creativity, but their work comes so homogeneously together. It just, they kind of dance around each other, you know. But it's, you got to be like extremely lucky to find that kind
Yeah.
of
It depends on
team.
situation. It depends on
Yeah, it
situation.
depends on situations. But yeah, for sure. I get what you mean. It's like once you find like a vibe that is like someone can get your fog with like using your word, that is extremely rare, but it's extremely
Yeah, it's like
good.
a case. It's like a case. So, for example, just you have a project on your work, right? And you have a deadline. So you don't go on a numbers like okay, this at this number I just go to the 3D or maybe sketches, make a presentation like that. So that's the you're very happy man, then you just um, go to boss and say him just give me approximately 1 month or maybe 2 weeks. Give me one model and I can do something crazy like this. Don't don't put me on a numbers. Just give me a time. Just give me a time. And this is the absolutely amazing, breathtaking, brilliant situation. Then you can just create something. So because you just like a manager, you just to manage an orchestra, you're a boss on this project and at this time, and you can say just that should be like this. Not in it's just only like this, and you go crazy on it. You can depend the story. You can't just radicalize it every time, every day. So, and it in a final result, it maybe you just bring into this world something crazy, but it should give emotions to the viewers. And maybe your work can be not so quality, but it doesn't matter in this case because emotions are too enough in this work. Energy is too enough, and viewers, then they see it. It's just wordless case because they don't say something. They just see the details, maybe like the deconstruction shape, or maybe like how to light playing on this shape like this, and they don't spend time on asking something stupid questions like this. That's the result when you go crazy. If you have just 2 weeks maybe, or 1 month maybe, just 2 months, just it's a perfect case, I think, in work.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess this goes up to the level of being human as a species. We kind of are able to communicate through different emotions, and which is why films have, have so much impact on people, no matter who created them, no matter what language they are. Um, Sadly, for entertainment nowadays, it's like people don't really focus on that anymore. Um, at least for a lot of the big budget projects I see out there, it's like they focus on how good it looks, how realistic it is, how um, I don't know how much money it'll give you back, and how attractive are the people on the screen, so people can go and see hot people. But but then like the emotions are buried behind all of these layers and layers and layers and layers of, I don't know, crap. I would say. Um, but it's so interesting to see this type of things be expressed in other industries. Um, it's like, okay, so to get into like a specific scenario, like for entertainment, we it's what we do, right? Like technically, we do designs based on emotions. But this industry is so saturated and demanding of things that looks beautiful or things that looks attractive, and people create things so they look attractive. Um, and what it's supposed to be, like for example, I would say entertainment design is the closest medium to like what you said about expressing an emotion, right? And
Yep.
expressing something that everybody understands. But in reality, what I feel is that these things are actually be buried very deep down by all of these superficial demandings of the industry. And it's kind of it's really weird because we're kind of the most I would say like the closest group of people that should do these type of designs, and then the designs that come out should resemble or like resembles those type of emotions, but when you look really deep into it, it's like it's not that. It's actually what the industry is demanding. And so for me, it's really hopeful that I see other people in areas that are not necessarily in demand of, like, for example, when you say car design, you're designing a box that drives on the road, right? It's fully functional driven. But then when you have that kind of mindset of communicating to people through emotions and through what you're thinking, through your own vibe, and translating that into transportation design and expressing that through a different medium, it really stands out, and it really emphasizes on the point of expressing certain emotions or certain personalities through a design. And I think that's a really hopeful thing, and which is why think I hope to see more inter industrial creative collaborations, because it's like the in entertainment industry this thing is lacking because it's
Yeah.
already it's already so demanding. It's like you gotta be attractive, gotta earn money, gotta gotta do this, gotta do that, right? And yeah,
So what about Timur?
Yeah, I was thinking about a lot of stuff when you were guys explaining. Uh, yeah, I think this problem of, uh, let's say, bosses asking for, they kind of kill the initial design that you created, which was the most honest. And then it gets buried, as you said, um, under these layers of demands, like demanding factors play a role in the final design. It becomes kind of dull. It becomes, you know, emotionless almost. And I think there's a industry. It's it's all about numbers and sales, and they do. I don't know. I can speak only about my work and my experience, but I think generally it's true because all the industries are making money and they looking at other products that did well and they want to have something maybe similar and something that is familiar to a viewer.
so
Maybe
there's
they
no risk.
overlook huh?
Yeah, so there's no risk involved.
Yeah, there's no risk. They want to have um, they want to have numbers of sales beforehand to be sure that this product will succeed. Um, but for most of the time, not most of the times, maybe sometimes, because I don't know the actual cases, but I feel like stories of success of previous, let's say, movies, for example, they were successful because it was something new and they had courage to do something different. That's why it succeeded. But it being already on the market, and if you try to make something that is similar so that you can estimate your number of sales, it's already like a failure because you're going for something that is created and no one wants it because it's already been done. There's the best product is that is hard to compare to others, like it just stands out and you want to grab it. If
Yeah.
we're talking about you know like small things like a phone, and I guess it's hard. I mean, of course, it's hard when you when you have a goal to create something new. It's hard, but if you have your own idea and your own story that you just want to express honestly, like with your own honest thoughts, then it's just, it's new because
Yeah.
it's your own thoughts. It's not others thoughts of others people or other creators or whatever. And
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I agree with you guys, like talking about all these things. And I feel like car design is also like an entertainment design, in the sense that we want to, at least maybe bosses, I don't know, or chairmen of the companies, but let's say they want design to entertain people or attract. So I think it's the same kind of things. They want design to, let's say, yeah, entertain to the point that they want this product to buy. They want to buy this product, and then they want to use, I guess, this product at least for a couple of years. So it should be entertaining in the long run, kind of.
Yeah, I guess it's hard and it's like a balance between everything because I do get why companies want to make something that's not risky and that's uh, make sure the profit is returned. But in terms of creativity, it really just lacks a lot of the excitement. Um, and it's like what I love what you said about like it's if you put out your own honest thought, then there's the other works would be kind of irrelevant to its newness or creativity because it's like it's a it's a thought that comes from you within your context. I think that's what projects or things that chases the like create something new falls into is they fall into the trap of or like they create a trap for themselves that is they create something new for the in the context of new stuff but it's not necessarily like their honest thoughts, their authentic brainwaves, I would say.
Yeah,
um yeah, so like when you create something out of those things like and be truly honest with a design, it it stands out because it's like it's in a complete different context and environment that it lives in, which is what makes it different from other things.
yeah. I think it's also the fact that you should be, I guess, honest with yourself um,
Yeah.
to create something that is truly expressing your own thoughts. Uh, I also I remember you said about again, coming back to this layers thing, you know, actual design that you wanted to do being buried in like actual emotion. Um, for me, it's evident from it's a completely different industry, but it's just what I consume the most is YouTube, and I see when I see people appreciating um, like raw content um, rather than like thought out and well shot on like $1 million camera setup, whatever. And this raw content is more often like authentic and honest. And I think this day and age, um, I feel like there is a shift towards that direction, but not in the big industries. But I feel like people, I think what is most valuable and what people value is just honesty and like authenticity. Yeah, something that is not filtered. For example, I was listening to
Mm.
different comedians, and recently I'm listening to Patrice O'Neill, and like he had not only like shows, but they had like their own podcast back. Not their own podcast. It was like Opie and Anthony show, and they had Patrice O'Neill very often. And Patrice O'Neill, like, he was too honest. He wasn't like, he was successful, so that people still remember him, and like comedians call him comic for comedians. Like there's sometimes artists for artists, not for artists, not for broader audience is not ready for the art, but artists, like, they see, oh shit, this dude, he created something crazy, because they have experience of creating art, and for them it's like, whoa. And the same thing with this Patrice O'Neill guy. He never filtered himself, and he said a lot of things, but it's so hilarious, and it's so refreshing to hear honest thoughts of a person. And yeah, I think it translates this like essence of honesty. I think it translates to visual things that we create as well. That's my recent thoughts.
Yeah.
So I think I agree with Timur's thoughts. One of the quickest way to be honest is love what you do. Just to express the love. When you express the love, you just very honest. So, for example, it's a classic situation in industry when you should to do something generic, like when you have a lot of like competitors, right? Different products, and you should be like mimicries on this like on this area. So, and this is directly mimicrizing. Like, it's not just final result because it's the final result because I don't came up with crazy ideas. So it's just like, it looks like it's just without something idea. So that's, in this case, is just directly a task to be generic. And that's, I wanna just say to core design community, maybe something here. I profit the philosophy, don't explain. So what I mean is like, okay, you have a generic task. If you just go crazy, your work will not be understandable because it's too crazy, right? So you do crazy, and bosses or maybe colleagues say to you just, okay, you're a crazy guy, we can just have a stages of this crazy object, and on a final stage it can be just like something more calmy, like something more usual,
Calm down.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but fundamentally, you just have this idea on this core, for example, or on this object. So don't listen the bosses, and don't listen the task. Don't feel it. Don't feel it like when you're on a mathematics lesson, right? Just don't explain. And when you do crazy stuff, maybe boss can change your opinion, change his opinion, because maybe it not necessarily to do something generic. Maybe we have a lot of ways to show the public, to shocking the public, to maybe to create a story, for example, right? So, and you just go on this don't explain philosophy, and put the can't explain philosophy when you just, it's just your style, right? You can explain your style. So It's just you do your style, but you can explain because it's just like it's an eternal energy, right? So you can mix this two. Don't explain things, like don't explain, like don't listen your bosses, and don't explain is your artist way. So you can plus it, and finally you can just go crazy with your generic project like this.
I love that your advice is don't listen to your boss.
So yeah, no.
I
I think that's the why I just came up with this idea, because a lot of situations when you just don't listen the bosses, the bosses or your boss, it just on a final stage, on a presentation to the boss, or maybe on a presentation on a public, the result is good, because it's shocking. First of all, it's like unexpected, right? It's interesting. It's you have like a space to, how to Timur said, just to calm down, right? You have a space to calm down. But if you have another situation where you just a generic object, you can time, or you don't have a motivation to develop it because it's generic enough. It's just also generic. So you should to create an energy in every object that you do, and this energy can have a motivation. In this energy, have motivation for other peoples to develop it in any cases. So you just like on a game, right? You just skill the health of your project when you go crazy. So you just put a good plot, life plot of your object. So you can manage it on other stages.
have a slightly different take on it. Um, First of all, I love what you said about uh, creating something that is just purely your interpretation of something. And it's like when the instruction is to be generic, it's hard to do something that is interesting. And so it's like when you take your chance and go out of those things, it usually creates a better outcome um, than the generic instruction. I think my different view on that is there's this car designer. Oh God, his name I cannot pronounce. Giorgetto? Yeah.
Giorgetto Giugiaro. I don't know. It's probably sounds so bad.
Yes, what you said. His work in the time when I just started learning car design really inspired the mindset behind a design is assessing what is being asked from a design, because he designed the Volvo. Whoa, sorry. He designed the Golf, and he also designed Ferrari, right? And so it's like two very different things. And for like a Volkswagen Golf, it's like you gotta be it's gotta be a generic car. It's like there is a certain limitation on what you can do with it. And I think in terms of creativity, is like going back to the limitation thing, is how far you can push with the set of limits. And sometimes those limits are good, sometimes are bad. Um, for example, in my opinion, like if the limits is I want to create something that is new, or like I want this project to be different, then I think that's just points to something that eventually goes to generic. But if the limitation is to create something that is basic, that is not grandiose, or that is not like magnificent in terms of visuals, I think there is a way to wrap the design around a simple concept and really just go as far as you can um, in the fundamentals or in the basic stuff. And so I think it's like, in my opinion, the design of the original Golf and the design of a Ferrari is the same thing. That they're like equally, um, they can be equally special. Like, not because a Golf is a generic car, but more like it fulfilled its requirements and it pushes the limit of basic uh, design principles, if that makes sense. And also, like, I'm not like fully informed on which model is which or who designed what, but like that's the basic um thoughts I have towards, like, if you receive a, like, quote unquote generic request, what how do you define the word generic? Um like, how do you, like, what does generic mean, and what are the requirements that needs to be fulfilled? And I think there is a special way, or like a way to push that limit, even if it's within the box of generic stuff, if that makes sense.
Current car design industry is like very dependent on, uh, I guess, engineers first thing,
Mm-hmm.
and cost, and I guess there's limitations that are not fun in car design. Usually, they are not fun. All these limitations.
You sounds like a car design industry.
I think I'm a good average designer that experiences designers struggle. I think I'm a average or below average. Like, I'm experiencing maybe more of that struggle. I feel like maybe it is an average when person feels like he's, you know, experiencing something really really shitty. Maybe it is the average
It's
of the current.
relatable. I
Yeah, yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
finish your.
yeah, yeah. um, yeah. So those limitations are not fun, especially if it's, let's say there's projects that are not completely new, and there's projects that are should be done um, in a specific way because there's like third factor that, for example, if it's two companies trying to trying to create, let's say, one base vehicle for two cars, it's rough. It's so rough because you have two, let's say, two different. It's like a war, basically, and there's no winners. There's no winners from designer's perspective. Maybe from sales perspective and cost, maybe that
Yeah,
was a great,
someone will get
great
rich.
deal. Yeah, someone gonna get rich.
Yeah,
Someone
but definitely
got.
not the designers.
The designers did struggle for nothing, for the result that is not satisfying for any of the parties at the end. So yeah, that's, I guess, as Kirill said, it's really, the ways you can express yourself really depend on the projects that you're working on. Sometimes these limiting factors are really limiting, um, and most of the times in car design world, especially if it's a, big company, I feel like there's too many opinions and, let's say, too many expectations of, to get some cool design. But as you said, if you have a simple task of creating something so basic, like as you said, golf, I think it was created with this kind of mindset of, creating something that, like, it's functional and I guess nothing more. But this is what it makes genuine and like honest product, which sometimes really needed. Like some cars, this fast fashion SUVs, for example, to sell well in a certain period of time, they maybe there is a time when this, let's say, kind of cool, flashy design is needed, but it's maybe not as valuable in terms of like as a product or as a design, in the sense that it's just fast fashion, just the current design trend applied on the vehicle.
I can relate to you in terms of the limitations on the project because I also work in like production part of a game.
Mm-hmm.
So there is like the amount of engine limitations and animation limitations there is just it really squishes down what you
Yeah.
can do with something. And working on well, currently my job is more of like less of a creative work, more just like creating assets for a game. But I've been in situations where they tell you that this is something they need that is basic, but then it's like you said, it's like they want all the trendy stuff, all the flashy stuff to be applied to the design, and they but then they're at the same time their goal is to create something someone never seen before, and then they have a board
Mm.
of all the current trends that is given
Right.
to
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
That's I can directly like relate to that, because like they just, like, for example, in my case, what happens is it's just first step, which is, I think, um, needed maybe for a perspective, but at the end it ends up being a like an inspiration board instead of like a perspective of current trend, um, which you don't need to follow. It's the opposite. You have this board to avoid what we already have, but they create this benchmark of things that we have on the market to kind of fit into the uh, to the board. But if you, yeah, it's just, yeah, I can directly relate to this thing. Did you see this video called something along the lines of like in defense of boring design or something like that? And it was about boring design that you saw a million times, but it works the best because the reason it works the best because it's boring. And for example, Toyota Corolla or Toyota Camry, the design is as generic as it gets, but because of that, it's being sold in so many numbers. There's so many plastic cups. They're almost the same, or paper cups. They're not special. They're not unique. The
They serve the function.
yeah, they serve the function. They're being sold that well not because of their unique appearance or unique functionality. It's just because it's that bare minimum of a design you need to object to function. Yeah, sometimes I'm thinking about it as well, like having boring design. It's okay. It's not end of the world. And being a designer and being a car designer especially, it's not something that you certainly create, let's say, a world but it's not, you know, it's not like saving the world, creating a cool design. It's just, you know, have have your fun, man. You know, maybe maybe other people will like it. This I feel like um, some people might feel pressure, um, you know, trying to create something crazy, or just enjoy your time, man. Maybe that's my if because Kirill had his own message to the audience, and um, especially working in the company, you're not saving the world. You're just doing your job. You know, it's
Okay,
just design. It's just
let's
design.
of boring design. Let's push the poetry.
Yeah. Kirill, please.
Will be adepts, just like a prophets of boring design. We should create a new Bible, of boring design. I think it will be great. How to create a boring design and express yourself like this. I like that we have a multidisciplinary conversation. We have a IT, like moments, car design, poetry, films, etc.
Oh yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So I think my thought is we should to write the new book, just the poetry of boring design, how to express yourself. You can close all your passions, all your just your thoughts and etc. as a person, but anyway, you just in the final you just get a boring design, and I think it's not bad, as Timur said. So, but I think if we talking about the process, if the process was so much fun when you create it, so I think maybe it's enough. But in a perfect situation, of course, all of team have a desire to see something special. Just see the French films, please. See the French films, and you will be lucky, guys, right? So, Francois Truffaut, for example, like Wong Kar-wai, for example, like is just absolutely breathtaking persons. Uh, like just see films, different films, especially French Wave, especially Gong Kong Wave, and like Tarantino films, and um, stay creative as fuck.
Quoted, stay creative as fuck. It's gonna be the title of the of this podcast.
Audience.
Oh,
Oh my god.
oh.
Oh my god.
Now I can
So-
notice. Now I
Yes.
can notice.
This
No,
cat
he's
is
here.
better than the design.
Design is secondary when you see a cat. Cat,
Yes.
yes.
Nothing is important.
Yeah. Like nothing is important. Cat.
I think unique designs they're great.
We're designers and we want to see, let's say, we want to be entertained as designers. We want to see something fresh. So seeing boring design for us is like, oh shit, it's like wasted opportunity. I could have designed this thing so much better and so much more, creative and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say that don't be so judgy. It's just, you know, lower your standards a bit. Like for example, in car design, you can have like great team, perfect, all of the superstar designers, all of the whatever quote unquote creative people, but if leadership and if management sucks, product will suck as well. The design is going to suck as well, no matter how cool designers are.
Yeah.
And you can see it through so many cars that come out, because to get to the, I'm not sure if it's true in every case, but generally to get to the point where you can professionally do car design, it's like highly competitive. And of course, people who are already in car design industry, they are creative, all of them, in their own way, of course. If there is right leadership and if there is right mindset, again, I think it's can be applied only to big companies, not in smaller groups where you have, like, let's say, relative freedom. A lot of times design is design created not by designers but by the process.
Yep, I have
Yes.
an idea. What's your main inspiration? What field is inspire you most? What exactly inspire you every day, like in every work? You just bring back to it and put the energy and go to your personal works. Maybe motivation too.
No, let's stick with inspiration because it should be clear. Joel, you first.
Me first? Okay.
Yes.
I think for me it's like it kind of goes back to the thing you mentioned before about like having this spark of an idea and you kind of just grasp it. So in that case, I think it's mainly story. I love fashion. I love a lot of aspects of car designs. I love a lot of animations and films. But I think they exists in their own entity and it serves as a point of inspiration. But I think for me, if I were to like create something that is authentic to myself, it is like a story or like some kind of emotion that starts everything. I think it's like designing something is sort of like you gain this spark of an idea and then it lives like a seed and it like once you have the environment around it, you have the rules that you created for this design, it kind of grows out by itself. It's like very little work needs to be done on my side because like things kind of just builds itself up. That's how I like to approach design, at least for my own projects. Yeah, mainly for like personal projects. Definitely not in um not too much in work environment, but it definitely helps as well. So I think it's like more of a story or like the initial structure that you create for a design. Hey guys, so unfortunately Kirill's phone died during our conversation. So I had to wrap up the conversation pretty quick. But overall, I just want to thank Kirill and Timur again for joining my podcast and talk about creativity. I think it's super interesting to see how different artists approach their vision of creativity. Um, and especially for us artists that works in the industry, um, but have our own passions as well. It's like it's interesting to see what the struggles are and um, how each individual views these struggles and views designs and views creativity and how they translate that into their own work. So, yeah, I'd like to thank our guest again, and hopefully, we can continue the conversation in our future episodes. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, and bye.